Well, I grew up in a politically active family.
Mm.
My mother was a congressional aide for a number of years, and for the local congressman, his name was John Dow,
Mhm.
26th District of New York, and
Wow.
he was one of the, I think, six Congress people who voted against the Gulf of Tonkin resolution, which is the resolution that
Yeah.
permitted our entry into the Vietnam War.
Right. Right. Yeah.
One of the few senators who voted against that resolution. Do you know? Wayne Morse, Oregon.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
No, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and
So,
Gulf of Tonkin is like, well, if you ask people my age, that's the OG false flag, that
yeah,
got
that
us
very
dragged into
true.
the war. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
anyway, so my first job was actually in the office of John Dow's office in the congressional office, district office. And I did a lot of like office work, typing, answering correspondence, filing, mimeographing,
Wow.
collating,
Wow.
licking licking envelopes endlessly. We actually had to lick them until we got one of those sponge things.
Right.
That was a great step up. Um, my first campaign was LBJ. I was out there, little kid, handing out brochures in a mostly Republican area.
Yeah.
Where I grew up was upstate New York, mostly Republican, even though our congressperson was, as they said, was a Democrat. And the difference between then and now is that back then we didn't have these harsh political partisan divides. I knew a lot of families who had a Republican father and Democratic mother, and it was a marketplace of ideas, and the best idea won. And
Right.
that's what I'm trying to do myself, is to run an ideas based campaign.
Yeah. So
And
That's
go ahead.
that's a great dovetail into
Mhm.
my first question is,
Why am I running?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think we're there, but please go on.
I have to start with my best friend when I was growing up. I think he and I would sometimes out there together handing out the pamphlets. We known each other since we were 4 years old,
Mhm.
and he died just a year ago, February 23rd. His first yard site was just a few days ago.
Mhm.
And he and I stayed very involved, engrossed in politics, and discussed it. And um, I feel an obligation to him to do something, because I know that he would be horrified by what's going on, and despairing. And I know that he would also be so ecstatic to know that I was doing this.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. And also because I just keep seeing, as I said, my first job was in a congressional office. I have an enormous reverence for what Congress has done and can do and should be doing. And so I just want to go there and do that work,
Yeah.
and also do the constituent service that I don't feel like the second district has been getting. It just gave me a whole different perspective than I think most people have on Congress. And that's my idea, is I just want to go there and do the work, and
Yeah,
here in the district do the work.
absolutely. Let me ask you, maybe you may even not agree with the premise of this question, but in my view, there is this huge disconnect with young and, well,
Ah,
and to
uh,
be
okay.
frankly, it's now all ages, but
Okay,
there
so
is some skepticism
let me
about the
stop you right
Democratic
there.
Party.
No, definitely there is.
Yeah.
Let me stop you right there.
Mm.
I worked in the 2008 Obama campaign.
Ah,
Uh, I mean, I was a volunteer, but still, it was
right.
full time volunteer, and I was a precinct captain of the precinct that included Southern Oregon University,
Oh, okay.
and so I spent a lot of time working with the students.
Mm.
And everybody looks back at Obama and says, "Okay, that was a golden age for student and young persons involvement." And I tell you, it was not so easy. Um, I expected them to be, rising and en masse. But no, it took a lot of being there, day after day, week after week, making it easy for them,
Right.
having the interactions, and making sure that I had connections with student organizations that were already there on the campus. I mean, the Gay Student Alliance was really one of the most active and involved. And we got turnout in that election from SOU that has never happened before, it never happened since. Um, so it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And I get the skepticism of the young people, because I mean, to me, the problem is that they see what's wrong, and I agree with them with what's wrong. I mean, Congress is broken. I think we all see that.
Yeah.
Um, but what they don't, maybe they're not as aware of as I would like, is that they, of all people, have something they can do about it.
Right.
What they can do is work toward support and help people like me who are using an issues based approach, an issues based campaign, because we are a unique country in the history of the world, in that we are founded on an idea. We're not founded on a terrain, a place, a birthplace,
Yeah.
an aristocracy and nobility. We're founded on an idea.
Right.
Um, and one part of those ideas is to have citizen legislators, people who are of the community, go to make the laws and then return.
Yeah.
And so to have people like me who are going to carry their ideas, the ideas, because that's what I'll do, is carry the ideas of this young generation. I feel like I need to work for that generation more than any other, because they're the ones who are being denied the most of
Yeah.
what, frankly, people in my generation had and took for granted. We had the you know uh, uh, mortgages that were backed by the FHA, and
Right.
with a 2.5% down payment. We had a, you know I had student loans, I had grants. I got through college and grad school with the amount of debt that these students get in a semester.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, and it still took me till I was almost 40 to pay it off.
Sure.
But
Sure.
but it was a 2% interest or something, 2.5% interest. I mean, as I said, this wasn't just happen. It wasn't an accident, or just, well, that's how things work. No, this was
No.
a
Yeah.
decision by Congress to
Yeah.
make it happen. And our young people they're not, they've been abandoned. They've been let go. They're, you know, and the one thing they need to do to not be let go, to not be abandoned, to have their voices and their interests heard, is get out there and vote.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
Absolutely 100%.
yeah.
And speaking of getting out there, how do you propose to reach the vast amounts of independents, of unaffiliated voters,
Yeah,
and even some conservative voters?
yeah, no, I love this. It's great. You're doing it. You're doing this really awesome job of like segueing into a
I'm trying.
question,
I'm trying my best.
that you already gave me in advance. So I know exactly what you're saying. Like, that occurs to me. How are you going to be? Okay. Well, first of all, uh, so I told you about my friend Mitch, who I
Oh,
grew up with. Um, I also have a really close friend, um, who now for 30 years maybe. Um, and I don't think in all those 30 years we voted for the same presidential candidate.
right.
Uh, you know, um, he has his views and I have mine,
Right.
and but we love each other.
Right.
We
Right.
love each other, and because beneath all this this little surface stuff of politics, there's the heart. There are these shared values, the things that make us Americans. I'm a person of faith, and that's another thing that ties us together, is that we don't have the same faith, but
Right.
we're both people of faith, and we do have that same basic belief that we should love one another as we love ourselves. We would love as we would want to be treat others as we would like to be treated ourselves. The
Right.
golden rule, um, and that in the New Testament, when Jesus is confronted, what is the highest law? That's the one that he cites.
Right.
To yeah, and that's what bonds all of us in the second district together, and why I can, because I don't have to reach out to speak to people who maybe haven't always voted Democratic,
Hmm.
um, because I am of them. I'm
Yeah.
just as independent. I have the same basic beliefs, the same basic goals. We want the
Right.
same things.
I
I
mean, so
remember,
calling yourself a Democrat is not
yeah,
precluding you from being able
well,
to engage these people.
no, I think
It's
in my
just, it grew on you. It's not like
yeah, right. No, I in my stump speech, which I think I've since removed. It said I'm not going to have a D or an R next to my name, but an O for Oregonian.
I like that. I like that. I
And I'm
don't think you're
and I'm
allowed to do that, but I like it.
well, and before 2008, I actually was a non-aligned voter. I was
Mm,
what other states they call an independent. I had
sure.
to re-register as a Democrat in order to vote in the primary in 2008 for Barack Obama. And
Right.
and anybody out there, if you are not registered as a Democrat because you don't think of yourself as a Democrat, that's fine. That's what I was. But if you want to vote in this primary, you have to be registered as a Democrat. And I
Right.
really,
It's not an
so
open
no, it's
primary.
not an open
Yeah.
primary, which I kind of like that. I think that's maybe how it should be, but that's open for debate. But regardless, if you're out there and you're not a registered Democrat and you want your voice heard, which I would like that to happen, just go ahead and change to a Democrat and then you get to vote in this
Right.
primary.
And for this primary, I believe the cutoff date is April 28th. That's the
That sounds
hard.
right. I have it on my calendar, but yeah,
Something something like that.
well,
So
right. It's about three
hop
weeks.
to it because it's not
About 3 weeks before the end of voting. But by then
right.
they'll already, the ballots go out. So that's the thing, is that they have to have you registered before the ballot, because when you get the ballot, either it'll have the Democratic candidates on there or it
Right.
won't. It
Or
won't be
yeah,
like,
right.
yeah. So
Yeah,
the only way you get to vote for a Democrat is if you're registered as a Democrat by the time the ballots go out.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to my next sort of spicier question. Under what circumstances would you accept corporate money or PAC money?
Right. Okay. I have a prepared statement.
Good, please.
Okay. Okay. I'm taking a very strong and principled stand on this one. I will only accept corporate and PAC money if they are foolish enough to give it to me. I mean, I'm not going to do what
Perfect.
they want, you
Perfect.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
But make it
Pearls
rain.
before swine,
Make it rain.
literally.
Yeah, make it rain. Well,
It's
that's
just
not
going to be
exactly right,
it's just going to be wasted
but
effort
it's
on
like
their part,
yeah. Um, well, I want to be candid with the with you and with the voters. This is a really unusual election.
Yeah.
The circumstances are, and I have to say this because I saw your thing on our current representative. I mean, to put it bluntly, you tore him a new one. Let's put it that way. You took him. You really did. You really took him apart, and beautifully so. But the one thing you said, I think at the very outset, was it'll take a miracle to defeat him.
Right.
And I'm here to try to make you think maybe that's not true. To shift
Doesn't
your
it doesn't need to meet the
well,
threshold of miracle.
so just look at it this way. Now,
Yeah.
before I say anything, I want to say that I am a nerd. I'm a total nerd. Okay. And so this is how nerds think.
Yeah.
Um, there were two recent special elections, one in Texas, one in Louisiana,
Right.
in which the vote swung toward the Democrat by 31% in one
Yeah.
case,
Huge.
32%. Right.
Right.
Well, Trump won CD2 by 28% in 2024. A 32% swing, you have to cut it in half. So you add 15 and a
Right.
half to the Democrat, take it away from the Republican, 28%, you get a 51% Democratic, 49% Republican. Right.
Oh,
Now, just take the most recent polling on approval rating, Trump's approval rating among independents, and look at
right.
the number of independents, because there are more independents, as I'm sure you know,
Yeah.
more independent, more non-aligned voters, as we call them, in the second district than there are either Republicans or Democrats.
Right. Right.
If
Right.
you so that poll was 73% disapprove, 26% approve. If you take those percentages and you apply them to the non-aligned voting block, and then give all the Democrats to all the Democratic voters to the Democrat, all the Republican voters, just assume they all vote and they all vote party line,
Right.
and just apportion the non-aligned voters along that 73-26. Do you want to guess what the result is? Go ahead, just take a guess. 51% Democratic, 49%
You're
Republican.
kidding.
No,
Wow.
I told you I'm a nerd. I told you that, right?
I didn't realize math was going to play. I mean, I thought you were
Yeah,
going to say
yeah,
Star Wars
yeah.
nerd.
I love that. I love that bit in Saturday Night Live when Will Ferrell played in the debate they did.
Yeah,
Will
right,
Ferrell was
right.
playing
Yeah,
W. He
yeah.
said, "They told me there was there was going to be no math." That's why this election is so unusual.
Right. Is
And
the
I'm gonna
numbers are in play
right.
in real way.
So I'm approaching this with two assumptions.
Hmm.
One, that I'll win,
Yeah,
and two, that I'm only going to focus on this one term, because I can't possibly assume in any way that there'll be a second one. So I'm going to
yeah.
focus on getting as everything that I feel like needs to happen done in that one term.
And I always wondered what it would be like if a congressperson didn't have to worry about reelection,
Which
you
is one
know?
reason why, if the PAC money starts pouring in,
Right.
what are they going to do?
I'm just
They
gonna
say,
rock and roll
exactly.
for
I'm
my
not.
constituents for two
Uh,
years. It's gonna be like great for OR2.
well, it's like in college basketball where they call it
Right.
one and done. One and done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Foreign aid. So would you make your support for
Uh,
foreign aid contingent on human rights and
right.
and
Yeah.
adherence to international law?
Yeah. This is a great question. So thank you.
Mhm.
Um, First of all, no,
Yeah,
because uh, foreign aid shouldn't be dependent on whether the government of the country where it's going is observant of human rights. And,
right,
and in fact, those countries are the ones who probably need the aid even more.
right, right.
But I had a feeling that what you were trying to actually get to was Israel.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean military aid, I
Military aid to
suppose.
Israel. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Bernie's
I
going to
kind
bring.
of wanted
Yeah,
my
I'm
my
not. I'm not a.
interviewees to meander down that way, but I didn't want to lead them there by a
I got
leash.
the where that I think the second part of where that question was heading, and I'm not a, I typically am not in the Bernie Sanders sort of wing of the party, but I do admire how Bernie has approached this one issue, and I think I have to. I don't know what your background is, but um, I'm Jewish,
Mhm.
and um, I was born 7 years after the Holocaust,
Wow.
and my um, my family got very involved in both Jewish war relief and then in trying to support survivors, camp survivors who were who were brought over to the States. It was very difficult to actually bring survivors. You'd think that they would have said, "Oh, come on,
No,
you went
no.
through so much," but no. They had a sponsor, and so I got to meet some of these people. My great uncle, who not by birth, he wasn't I wasn't related to him, but he married my great aunt, who was in she served in the war and
Oh,
was
wow.
actually one of the people who liberated the camp that he was in.
Wow.
So he was a camp survivor in Poland, and um, this is not this is they have to understand why people like me, American Jewish people, have such a strong emotional connection to the state of Israel.
Yeah.
Um, that isn't to say to the government of Israel.
Sure. Sure.
Um, so the the survival of the state of Israel relies on, over the long term, is going to rely on creating peace, prosperity, and positive relationships among all the people of that region.
Right. Yeah.
And and it isn't really far fetched. I know it's hard right now, but they have a lot of what helps one would eventually help the other. And
Right.
so, yeah, military aid is probably a really bad idea right now. But working, and as somebody who'll be one of the Jewish people in Congress,
Right.
I feel like we have a special role in speaking to the state of Israel and speaking to the people of Israel, speaking to the government in general, to make the aid properly focused, and to turn the corner, and bring, you know allow for the state of Israel to survive and thrive, and also
Sure.
for
Right.
and to do so by having the other peoples in that same region survive and thrive.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I went to Columbia University graduate
Mm.
school, and so I've been feeling very connected to what's gone on there on campus,
Right.
and I've been very proud to see Jewish students at Columbia um, be out there favoring the peoples of Gaza and their rights.
Right.
There are, of any other of any group ethnic group, probably more Jewish people. I mean, as a when I was young, we were involved with the civil rights movement,
Yeah.
and it was very widespread among I saw a documentary just recently on PBS called the Blacks and Jews or something like that,
Right.
about the
Right.
about the one of the founders of the NAACP. Several of the founders, they were Jewish,
Yeah.
and um, the ties between the rights of others and the Jewish people is one of the things that I've been most proud of
Well, and
about
that's
about
that's
our
the
our
narrative
people.
that I grew up with, is that civil rights movement that was a pluralistic movement. It
Yeah,
drew everyone together, but especially people that could perceive the ways in which, a system-wide prejudice, hurts everyone, not
yeah.
just one subset of people.
Well, Dr. King said, "None of us are free until all of us are free."
Right. So, what are your thoughts on AI?
Okay. I'm this is my favorite question, maybe, of the whole addressing of artificial intelligence. One of the core planks of the platform that I'm running on.
Okay.
It is one of the central issues, along with just the role of reclaiming the proper role of Congress.
Right, right,
But it's tied in there because Congress does have a role in how artificial intelligence is going to happen here in the U.S.
right,
And they have not done it. They have not answered the call. They have so far. It's glaring,
right.
stunning, the lack of any congressional action.
It's like
Um,
they've washed their hands of it.
well, or they're just befuddled. They're so out of touch, they have no
Right.
idea what's going on.
Right.
We have an administration that's actively pushing for both crypto and AI, and they want to get rid of any restrictions on it.
Right. Yeah.
And so Congress has got to act. And also on my website, I feature AI, the response to AI. If you go to my website, which is pqnow.net, I included a chart that shows the relative speed of adoption of cell phones, the internet, and
Interesting. Okay.
just
Okay.
one AI platform, Chat GPT,
Right.
the number of people who adopted it within, and you see that the adoption of Chat GPI within a year equals the adoption of cell phones over 10 years, of the internet over 15, 16 years.
Oh my
So the
God.
speed, that's just one of the platforms, and there are maybe six now major. So I know you look scared. You
I
should be.
mean, I assume that technology is always on this exponential curve, but I didn't
Yeah,
realize that I was hanging on the cliff
right.
face of that now.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's truly crazy.
It's eye opening is what it is,
Yeah.
and it demonstrates the urgency of this issue,
Yeah.
why it is so central to my campaign.
Yeah.
Um, uh, the way I'm phrasing it on my website, and when I speak about it, is we need AI to work for us and not the other way around.
Right. Right.
Increased job sharing is
Right.
another thing that is has it's not my idea. This has been put out there. The
Sure. Sure.
idea that we all work 20-hour weeks, but that only works if the increased productivity that the AI creates means that both of those people get paid more or less at the same level they had been paid for the 40-hour.
Right. Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
so right. And that's where we can't rely on employers. I was an employer. I was a small business owner for 20 years, and
Well,
I employed a whole bunch of people, and so I know that I was as generous and liberal as I could possibly be.
sure.
But I also knew that that if I had to make a really harsh decision, that I would have to make sure the business survived.
Right.
So we can't rely on employers and or their goodwill,
Yeah.
because they're not all me.
Right. They didn't
Um,
I was about to say,
yeah,
it's like
they're not all enlightened employers, and so that's why, you know, I don't like government intruding, because again, I was a small business owner. I had to deal with government
right.
and bureaucracy, and it's a mess.
Yeah.
But but it has to create those counterweights so that there isn't this imbalance, so that we hit the sweet spot between what AI can give us and how what the impact is going to be on our daily lives, so that we have meaningful participation, and that, as I said, sum it up, that AI works for us and not the other way around.
Well, let's move on to my next question, which is related to the environment. Do you support the closure of public lands for potentially dangerous resource extraction?
Okay, so again, you're asking some really complex and nuanced
I know,
questions.
and it's not fair to
No, no, no.
to keep you
No.
shrunk
That's
on
why.
time,
No,
but
these are
yeah.
great. These are the best possible questions to
Okay.
ask. They're really,
Yeah.
they're really superb.
Thank
Um,
you.
so, and it ties in with what we've been saying up to now, using evidence-based solutions.
Right.
Um, Part of using evidence-based solutions is you need to be prepared to change based on the evidence. So you
Right.
go in there based on the evidence you have at the start, and then you keep an open mind,
Right.
and I wrote uh, I wrote classes for professional education for about 15 years. I helped create an online education company that did
Oh,
professional education. I wrote classes,
nice.
and so I wrote a lot of classes on contracting,
Yeah.
which involved project management, and that
Hmm.
involves you go in, you plan and plan and plan and plan, and then you start and you change the plan. you
Right,
start
right, right, right.
you, because you have feedback. You constantly get feedback.
Man
So
plans, God laughs.
yeah, exactly. But this is next to the question about AI, which you just asked.
Sure.
This is maybe the most critical, one of the most critical, and one of the areas where I'm making central to my campaign.
Mm.
The second district has the largest so far concentrations of rare earth minerals in the United States.
Yeah,
And what I read somewhere was called a rare earth rush,
yeah.
but I've rebranded it. I've renamed it
Okay,
because I don't like
okay.
the name. Gold Rush, I understand.
Right,
I'm
right,
calling it a rare earth bonanza,
right.
and
Yeah,
and most people aren't aware of it. Certainly, it's not being properly managed right now. And you're
right,
right. If mismanaged, what's going to happen is there'll be contamination, there'll be health problems, and there'll be wealth flowing away to whoever,
out of the state. Yeah,
right, and whoever doesn't have our best interests at heart, and therefore is going to ravage. It's going to create all of these release all these contaminants. It's going to be ugly. What I want
yeah.
to talk about is that a rare earth bonanza, if properly managed,
Hmm.
it means keeping the contaminants to an absolute minimum, hopefully making it so that it doesn't affect public health at all.
Right, right,
And it means keeping the wealth, the proceeds here in the
right.
second congressional district. Um, First of all, it'll be better for our nation to be
Hmm.
able to have domestic production of rare earth and not having to
Right.
rely on China or
Yes, I agree.
whatever. Um, it's better for our nation. But and also, I don't know if you know, but Jackson County as well is uh, the uh, rare earth deposits they found in the southern, towards the California border,
Oh,
uh,
oh,
past
crazy.
that's
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jacksonville. Um, yeah, and uh, the uh, the area just east of Bend and going into that alluvial plain is
Hmm.
also very promising. They haven't actually found a lot yet, but the portents are that they will.
Yeah, right.
So that's why, as I said, this is one of the main focuses of my campaign is to make this, because if those if that bonanza is going to be properly managed, it's going to mean jobs.
Right.
It's going to mean wealth coming to this district. It means being able to fund some of the projects that we so desperately need. We need better infrastructure. We need a better power generation for uh, renewable. We need water reclamation projects and
Right.
irrigation. We need to upgrade our irrigation systems. We need to have not have to fight over water scarcity. We need to create water abundance, and you can't do that without redoing the system, and that's going to take a lot of energy. You
Yeah.
can't reclaim water without energy,
Yeah.
and you have to have that energy be so cheap that as the saying goes, too cheap to meter.
Yeah, but only if you
Okay,
want to
and
touch
I'll
on the Cliff Bentz thing
yeah, see,
because
and that's where I'm going to get this. This will be really brief.
okay,
Now,
yeah.
uh, everybody in CD2 knows who Cliff Benz is.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell them. I don't. I don't in any of my campaign material, and hopefully when I speak, I don't even use his name. I just talk about our current representative
Right.
and how we're not being served. We're being let down, and I don't have to tell them. They know that. I
Yep.
just tell them who I am and what I'm going to do. They'll draw their own comparisons.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. And
No,
then
I
last question. You
last
ready?
question is how will your constituents know that you are effectively serving them?
When I answer their calls, when I do the service that they're asking me to do,
You know,
and when they see their wallets and their purses more full,
that's
when they see
perfect.
more in their wallets and their lives are more secure, safer, and better, then
Yeah, I mean
no.
that is the way to know for sure.
Yeah,
It's not just being told. It's
yeah,
show me the
yeah,
money.
and none of these, like recently we had to decide whether we liked the Super Bowl halftime show based on politics. I didn't want to have to like it because of politics. I didn't want to have to dislike it because of the politics.
Right.
Enough, enough.
Yeah.
And that's not where my focus is going to be. I'm not going to bother with that, as we call it, Michigas
Right. Yeah.
silliness.
Right.
Do you have
Well,
do you have any, do you have any Jewish roots? I'm just out of curiosity, or
no, but I grew up Lutheran, and
ah,
one of the things that our church did was we would observe Passover,
oh
and
wow,
we would also go visit local synagogues.
yeah,
And so, our pastor made it clear that he didn't want our brand of faith to be the only one that we were familiar with, the only one that we could claim to have any kind of interaction with. And I think what that did for me more than keep me, Lutheran, was just instill in me the notion of plurality. You know, I would never want to be stuck in some place and not have the one person or that one group of people that would make everything better, just because I didn't know them because they were a stranger to
yeah.
me. Yeah,
Um,
true that.
and I was going to mention that the temple that I go to is very heavily involved in the interfaith movement, and we've
Awesome.
had we've had ministers of various congregations give sermons, and our rabbis have gone to their churches and given sermons there. So
That's
that
awesome.
the
And
there are
I'm
many paths, but they all lead to the same place as our
right.
the basis of our belief system.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, I for me personally, I think that the Torah, the singing of the Torah is one of the most beautiful
Isn't it?
traditions that
I know.
humanity has been able to conjure,
Yeah.
and I think that religion, whether you appreciate it for its aesthetics or for its moral clarity,
Yeah.
it's always going to play a part in how we think of ourselves, and to some extent how we govern ourselves.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it plays a greater part in how we govern our own hearts
Hmm.
and how we treat each other.
One of the incidents that moved me the most in the Charlottesville, the
I remember, yeah,
yeah, Proud Boys and
yeah,
whatever, that demonstration, and the heart that woman uh, killed, murdered there,
yeah,
sort of a dress rehearsal for what's been going on now
yeah,
in
very
but
much so.
but now, instead of being a um, horrible anomaly, is a government sanctioned action.
It's been institutionalized.
Some of the same people. But
Yeah,
one of the incidents that touched me most deeply was a group of them went to a synagogue during services, I think, and they were outside with automatic weapons
yeah,
during that demonstration. And the people of that synagogue took their Torahs and took them out the back door to to get them out to safety.
yeah.
And
I mean, they've
I
seen
don't know if
that show before,
I hope other people can understand what emotionally what that means.
Yeah,
Protecting something that has that we've been able to protect for 4,000 years,
Right.
and that binds us all together. And as you said, it's something beautiful that we bring into the world and bring into our lives, and lovingly share.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, man. This has been awesome.
Peter, thank you. I hope that you'll agree to do another talk with me, because I think we could actually, do a few of these
Anytime.
before the primaries. But
Sure,
you
anytime.
have been so open and candid with me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate just, I mean, everything, not just your time, but I mean the open lid off your head. I,
That's
I,
yeah. For
I've
better or worse.
I
That's
have
that's
learned
that's how I
so
am.
much. I really have. And
Yeah.
I am in such gratitude to you. Thank you.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
So let's talk again. I look
Any,
forward to following your campaign with great eagerness. Would you remind us again the name of your web address?
yeah, PQ now.
PQ now. Okay.
PQNOW.net.
.net. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Awesome.
I one of the reasons I like that PQ is because if you do it lowercase PQ,
Right.
it's the
Yeah.
same forward as backward.
Yeah. It's
And then
actually
if
kind of reversed to David Bowie.
yeah, exactly. Or decibel. And
There you go.
yeah, and if you flip now,
Hmm.
you get
One.
yep,
All you have to do is reverse. That's
that's the headline to
very
come.
smart. You are a nerd.
I am a nerd. I am a total nerd.
You
You
know
got
what?
it, man.
Maybe a nerd is what our district needs.
That's up to them, and I hope you're right. I hope they agree.
Thank you very much, Peter. Let's talk again soon, okay?
Thank you, Kyle. Bye bye.